welcome. Today's webinar is on starting your career with Career Boost. So this is part of our early careers webinar series for students and graduates. Just again, insight to what career will be like as they go on into further after finish up college and start the world of work as an engineer. And I'm delighted that we're partnering with Career Boost for this event. So you'll hear more about Career Boost in a very short while when I introduce Joanne to speak on it. But before that, just a bit about Engineers Ireland. So if you're not already a member, or if you are a member but still wondering who we are, obviously we are established since 1835. So we're a multidisciplinary organization, so not just any particular sector of engineering, but we cover a wide range, including civil, mechanical, biomedical, electronic computing. So and also we have over 25,000 members, and we're an online organization. So Career Boost themselves are involved in terms of programs across the island. So similarly, Engineers Ireland also in terms of our membership base. So you're very welcome to be part of that community and network. We're the sole body for awarding professional titles. So we have 4 main professional titles of engineering technician, associate engineer, chartered engineer, and fellow. And that can be applied through Engineers Ireland. And we also are there to support you in applying for that. We call ourselves the professional home for engineers here in Ireland. So either obviously, if you're a student, you're obviously making your educational home in your own institution. But obviously, as you move on into your career, we'd hope that then you'll make Engineers Ireland as your professional home, and we're there to support you throughout your engineering journey. And then in terms of the benefits of membership, so there's a wide ranging opportunities obviously to network in terms of different ways, be involved in different events and build up your CPD, continuous professional development, such as this itself is part of that. And I'll go into a little bit more detail how you can log this as your CPD. Access to exclusive reports. So obviously maybe a keen interest for many engineers is reports on what's engineering career is like, and the opportunities out there, and maybe insight into like the earnings or what's expected as an engineer. Obviously, with the membership, obviously, especially when you become a full member, you can use that and the post-nominal MEI, so the member of the Institute of Engineers Ireland, to your CV, to your profile, and everything. Obviously, as a professional body, we organize many events and talks to build up your skills. We have a wide range of discounted courses. And then we're there also to support you in obtaining your professional title, and that has international recognition to different agreements that we have with multiple countries around the world. How to become a member. So if you're not a member already, the process is pretty straightforward. It can be done through online. So obviously, if you go on engineersireland.ie, you'll be able to find a way to make your application to become a member. Obviously, if you're applying for a full membership, you will need to have your qualification verified. So that's primarily undergraduate qualification, but also you can include if you have done a master's, any other further study. There's multiple ways that you can have your qualification verified. So that's either by another Engineers Ireland member, Gardaí or police, through Digitry, or a college can verify that for you. If you're a student, the membership is free, and it's free throughout your educational journey. But obviously, if you're applying for full membership, the fee is €280. We also have a reduced rate depending on your circumstances. And again, all that information is available on our website, and please feel free to get in touch if you do have any questions on that. Once you submit your application, it's reviewed by our membership and qualification board, and they meet once a month to review that. And from there, then you'll be able to enjoy the benefits of being a member of Engineers Ireland. So like I mentioned earlier, in terms of CPD, continued professional development, so if you are a member, this is now your opportunity, obviously, to make sure you keep track of your CPD, especially as we're coming up almost to the end of the year, where you'll have to submit all your continued professional development that you've gained throughout the year. So this can all be done through your profile. Obviously, if you're a student, logging your CPD is not a requirement, but I definitely encourage you to keep a track of that in a diary and note, because that'll come useful very later on when you're making an application for a professional title, or as you obviously are building up your own learning and experience. If you're a graduate, you're either graduating this autumn or at this time of the year, or you've just recently graduated, make sure you do apply to become a full member. So this is when you move from a student to a graduate and full member of Engineers Ireland. Again, you can do that through your membership profile by choosing the Become a Full Member tab. And that's a pretty straightforward process in terms of becoming a full member. So we have a discounted graduate membership rate. So again, you have to just submit the application to your dashboard. Again, you have to get your qualifications verified. So this can either be done by your institution through an online form, or again, they can send us an email that's verified. And then after that, then again, it's processed by our membership qualification board. And then you'll be able then to become a member and apply the post-nominal MIEI. And obviously, if you transfer today or this time of year, you'll be able to enjoy again free membership for the 2023 year and discounted then for the few years after that. So yeah, so do feel free to get in touch if you have any questions about Engineers Ireland, any of the points that I mentioned earlier on. We are open in our office pretty much Monday to Thursday now, so do feel free to pop in at any time. So very welcome, I encourage you to do so. But you can also get in touch with us through many mediums and platforms. So thank you very much for listening to me for a brief while. So yeah, you'll hear me again at the end when we come to the Q&A. But without any further ado, I'm going to pass on to Joanne McAvoy, who will now kick us off to hear more about Career Boost and their program. So very welcome, Joanne.
Thank you, Pierre. Hello, everybody. My name is Joanne McAvoy, and I'm delighted to be here today to talk to you about the Career Boost programme, and in particular, how the programme can benefit you. I'm going to give a brief overview of the Career Boost programme before handing over to my colleague, Robbie Quinn, who will be speaking with Alan and Ulick to share their experiences of the Career Boost programme. So to start off, I'm just going to share a brief presentation just to give you the overview of the programme. So by way of background, Integrate Ireland helps small businesses in Ireland and Northern Ireland explore new cross-border markets, develop new products, processes and services, and become investor ready. As one of the cross-border bodies, Integrate Ireland is funded by the Department of Enterprise, Trade and Employment and the Department for the Economy. We are a small organisation with a big outreach. Career Boost is an element of our Innovation Boost programme, which supports innovation and collaboration between an SME, an academic, and a graduate. Collaborative partnership between business and academia are developed to create new products or improve current products or processes during a specific project timeframe. Career Boost is the means to recruit a graduate who solidifies the partnership and acts as the propellant to deliver this project. The core purpose of Career Boost is twofold: to provide an innovative, ambitious graduate to fuel innovative thinking and practice within an SME, and provide a unique and exciting, challenging opportunity to boost the graduate's skills, experience, and knowledge, driving you forward in the career. Career Boost connects you to a job with support within the science, engineering, or technology field. Each job is different and can be based anywhere on the island of Ireland. We promote over 50 roles per year for SMEs across the island. After a successful candidate is recruited, they are employed by the company for a period of 12 or 18 months as a project manager. Career Boost gives you a unique opportunity to step into a project manager role early on in your career. Throughout the duration of the employment, there is a management team there to support you, which includes an expert university or college partner. Along with this academic mentor who provides technical expertise and advice, there is also a company mentor who challenges, supports, and encourages. And there is a consultant who is an independent party who can provide a real sounding board for any barriers you may face along the way. As previously mentioned, each project is for either a 12 or 18-month period. You're employed by the company and could be developing new products, processes, or services to increase sales and enter new markets, or perhaps streamlining processes to reduce costs, increase efficiencies, and improve performance and profitability. You will gain invaluable experience in a project management role as you play a key role in the success of a specific project for the company. You have the opportunity to get hands-on experience. The outputs that you have been recruited to deliver are critical to the company's growth and future capability. You are a catalyst, providing a boost with the support of an academic. You are central to the development and delivery of innovation within a small business that will make a big difference. During the project, there are numerous opportunities for networking with your peers, colleagues, and academics. Career Boost affords a unique opportunity, not always available in other organisations. We recognise the need to provide real opportunities to further develop skills and continue professional learning. While on the programme, you can avail of a fully funded postgraduate diploma in Innovation Management from Queen's University Belfast. This formal qualification offers an extra takeaway, coupled with hands-on experience of project managing and delivering outputs. Not only is the Innovation Management qualification fully funded, you also have access to a training and development budget, which many utilise to enhance skills and gain technical qualifications in areas such as lean manufacturing, Six Sigma, and emerging technologies. There's also the potential to secure a permanent management position in an ambitious company, build your connections, and boost your career. Last year, over 80% of individuals on the Career Boost programme were offered permanent full-time positions within the company they were working with after their project contract had ended. To apply for any of our roles, you can visit our website, careerboost.intertradeireland.com, as all our current vacancies are advertised there. We promote over 50 vacancies per year, so roles are updated on a regular basis, and we're always on the lookout for new project managers. To apply, it's as easy as ensuring you meet the essential criteria of the position advertised, as roles do vary. And if you can demonstrate this, then upload your CV onto the portal. A member of our recruitment team will be in touch with you after the closing date to let you know what the next steps are. So I'll hand you over now to my colleague Robbie, who'll be speaking with Alan and Ulick to share their experiences of the Career Boost programme.
Thank you very much, Joanne, and good afternoon, everyone. So what we'll do is get a little bit of a Q&A session with Alan and Ulick to discuss their impressions of the programme and see how it has helped their career and what attracted them to the programme. A little bit about myself first. I'm a civil engineer. I graduated from NUI Galway in 2008. I'm a chartered member of Engineers Ireland, and I spent the last 13 years working on major infrastructure projects in London before moving back to Northern Ireland, where my wife is from, and taking up a new role with a business consultancy in Newry. And that's how I got involved in the Career Boost programme with Joanne. So we'll start with Alan, and just to give you a little background on Alan. Alan graduated with a bachelor's degree in mechanical and polymer engineering from TUS Athlone in 2021. And he works for a company called IPC, which stands for Innovative Polymer Compounds, based in Kilbeggan. Alan hopes to become a chartered engineer with Engineers Ireland and looks forward to putting together his CPD in line with this program that he's working on, this project that he's working on and leading for IPC. So let's get started. So Alan, you graduated last year, as I said, and you started looking for graduate jobs. You spotted the opportunity with IPC. So if you could tell us a little bit first about what attracted you to the job and maybe more specifically to the Career Boost programme.
Yeah. So I suppose when I seen the job advertised, I suppose immediately I thought, this is right down my alley. What I was looking for was, I suppose, a job with a small, maybe we'll say an SME, a local job, just for my first job, so I could be close by, but also have, I suppose, a link with a university or a college to, I suppose, learn on the job. And that's exactly what the job with IPC was. It was a link with Queen's University Belfast. And I suppose what stood out for me was that it was so relevant to my college qualification. Polymer engineering, and what I do is I work with formulation and R&D, and I suppose coming up with new qualifications, working alongside, I suppose, our experts here, but also customers, and I suppose, being that link between the customer and the company.
Very good. Yeah, thanks, Alan. So just let's dig a little bit deeper, I suppose, on learning on the job. Is it? I suppose you were looking for a technical challenge, and is there anything specifically that stood out for you that thought, yeah, this is the right technical challenge for me? Maybe go into briefly describe what the project is about that you're delivering for IPC.
Yeah, so I suppose what stood out for me with the job was exactly that. The relevance to my degree. I suppose the fact that it was a structured program where, there's a link between this company, an academic institute, and I suppose the fact that, the company is small, I'd get exposure to a relevant industry. And I suppose for me, the job spec was right down my alley. What I do day to day is I work with formulations, answering customer queries, and I suppose developing new products that are moving with the industry. The medical industry is going more towards, this bone regeneration stuff. And I suppose branching out into new technologies and getting the help from the academics, where I'm not an expert in these fields, but I'm given access to the university where they've got experts and they help me every step of the way. I suppose the big one is the structure of the program. Everything is structured. I've got a work plan, tasks to complete, and they're all very, I suppose, technically challenging, which is exactly what I was looking for in a program. Is, I suppose, something to challenge me to, I suppose, make me a better prospect going forward into my career.
Yeah, exactly. I suppose that is a very attractive element about the program is you've got an academic supervisor to answer all the tricky questions and guide you through the challenges, and a structured program for 18 months. So you know exactly what you need to deliver in 18 months, which, personally speaking, I wouldn't have had when I graduated my first job. So it's a real attractive point about this program. It shouldn't be understated. I suppose to give everybody a little bit of information on what the project is about, Alan, IPC, am I right, would typically develop compounds based on customer specifications, and they wanted to start to develop these polymer formulations. So a customer would come and describe an application, a medical application for this polymer, and then IPC want to be able to develop the formulation itself and get the regulatory compliance all in line for that application. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're spot on there. So I mean, this industry, you see, everything is different. All medical applications are different. You've got different classes of devices, and I suppose where you've got purchasers and engineers working together, maybe there's no necessarily experts there, and they're always looking for help in coming up with new innovative products or polymers to achieve their products. And there's the issue, I suppose, with polymers is, although they're fantastic, there's not always an off-the-shelf solution. And I suppose that's where we come in providing customers with a bespoke compound that is tailored to exactly what they're trying to achieve.
Yeah, exactly. Now, just in terms of your engineering degree, I suppose you had a number of expectations when you went on your first graduate search, and you had an idea of your own limitations, capabilities. You've got a lot of knowledge, low on the experience side, I suppose, like most graduates. But could you describe the other elements outside of engineering that you've experienced as part of this program that you might ordinarily not have been exposed to?
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose the big thing was I'm an engineer. I suppose I consider myself very technically minded. And and I like to solve problems for customers. That's my forte, I suppose. The biggest thing that scared me was the business side of things. Understanding the business, what makes a business tick, everything in the background. And I suppose this program was aimed at getting me outside my comfort zone in a good way, of course, to develop my skills outside of just engineering. So we'll say a big part of my project was marketing. So marketing our new range of products, our current range of products. And I suppose I've done a lot of traveling, with the company to various trade shows around Europe and Ireland and actually further afield. And I suppose that was purely to help the company market our new products and be there as the technical guy in, I suppose, sales. There was a lot of sales involved. And yeah, I suppose a lot of it was developing our new product going forward for the business. And marketing was a big part of that.
That's fantastic to be involved. I mean, fantastic to be involved at that level of the business so early in your career. You're getting a lot of exposure to, you're getting guidance from your senior management. You're getting involved in those trade shows. It's a really fantastic opportunity. And how have so just kind of looking at the challenges of that, what did you find most challenging about being outside your comfort zone? Is there any, could you list 2 or 3 things that you found particularly challenging, maybe about those trade shows or interacting with customers?
Yeah, so I suppose where I felt comfortable was, I suppose, in the factory and in my office, and I suppose working with formulations with customers, trying to understand, their pain points and developing new products to address those issues. I suppose where I felt a little bit outside my comfort zone was with the whole marketing thing. I suppose being a technical guy, I never really had a fantastic head for marketing and business, but I have to say after the program and just how structured it was, in that, okay, this is what you're going to do in marketing and this is where we want you to develop your skills. It's absolutely brought me on. I can't even explain. I suppose getting me involved in developing new presentations for customers. So we would deliver presentations. We delivered a presentation in Israel back in June, which is where we, I suppose, marketed our new range of osteoconductive compounds, which are for bone healing purposes. And I suppose being part of developing that presentation, now thankfully I didn't have to deliver the presentation, but I mean, to be there afterwards and with a sales hat on, and I suppose trying to sell our new product, as well as giving technical advice on our product. It was purely the marketing where I was outside my comfort zone, but I suppose the program helped me to understand marketing a little bit better, where I didn't fully understand before what went into it, but now I understand, and I suppose it definitely helped me progress in that way.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear, and I suppose we should emphasize as well for those graduate engineers looking to aim for chartered membership status, and satisfying all the competences of a chartered engineer. This program is almost tailor-made for it. All of those extra competences that you're developing and being able to record and articulate is a fantastic position you're in, to be able to record all those competences towards becoming a chartered member. So in terms of what you thought your career path looked like before, when you were doing your job search, Alan, to how you think do you think it has changed? And if yes, how do you think it has changed?
Yeah, so I suppose during my 4 years in AIT, which is now TUS, I done 6 months of work placement in a multinational, and although I thought it was fantastic, I'm working for this big name company. It's great. What I found was that Unfortunately, where I was, there wasn't a lot of variety in the work that I was doing. I felt very lost and isolated. It was a very big company, and although it sounded fantastic at the time, I suppose I felt alone. I felt like I was falling through the cracks. And I suppose what this gave me, what IPC gave me and the program gave me, was a lot more variety, an extremely fast-paced working environment, and I suppose more value. Just personally, I suppose I felt like I was a huge part of all the decisions that are being made here at the company. I suppose at a higher level, and I suppose just being involved with us, our company, we're upscaling, and we've been as busy as ever in the last year and have been in the 14 years previously. We're a fairly new company, and to be involved with that that development is it's a fantastic feeling. That, you know, you're one person in this small company, but your voice is very, very important, and they rely on you to, you know, to develop new products and bring us on the next step. So that was hugely important to me, I suppose, going with an SME, where before I suppose I thought, all right, let's go with a large multinational. But I feel like in terms of my career, this is definitely going to bring me on in the future. Just the experience and the different, I suppose, projects that I've worked on will definitely be highly valuable going into the future.
No, it's great to hear. That would certainly resonate with my own experience in the construction industry, working for subcontractors versus principal contractors and client organizations and things like that. Definitely, when you're working for a smaller company, the responsibility and I suppose the associated pressure is higher, but definitely the rewards are there to be seen. It's very useful. Thanks very much, Alan. Very, very interesting chat there about your own experience with the program, and it's clear to see the benefits there, and I hope it has helped other people who were in the same position you were, looking for a job out of university or college. Moving on to Ulick. Ulick is from Letterkenny, the mechanical engineering and Letterkenny IT, graduated last year, and is working for the Letterkenny Glass Company. So Ulick's scenario is slightly different to Alan's. Ulick was already working for Letterkenny Glass Company before he got involved in the Career Boost program. So looking at it from the perspective of recent graduates who might have already secured employment, just to see that this Career Boost can work for you as well. It can really accelerate your career development within the company that you've already chosen, for example. So it's not just for graduates looking for work. You know, it can be, in Ulick's case, people, existing employees as well. So Ulick, as I said, you're already working for Letterkenny Glass Company, and you were proposed as the project leader for this business critical project. So if you would, please tell us briefly what the project is about and how you're leading the project.
So my project is it's involved with GA handball and squash courts, and it's sort of developing the hardware for a modular handball court system. Not every handball court's the same, so we want to be able to develop one product that'll fit all applications.
Great. Yeah. So if we take one slight step back, maybe you describe what Letterkenny Glass Company would typically do, and is this novel? This is a novel product for them, right?
Yeah. So typically, Letterkenny Glass Company, they'd be mostly involved in they do a bit of glass and glazing. They do architectural glass, such as like your frameless glass, your balcony and stair glass. And a couple of years ago, they got into these GA handball courts. There was nobody else doing them in Ireland, but they were just buying in the hardware, and sourcing the hardware was an issue for these different courts of different shapes and sizes. So yeah, this is a totally new innovation that they've come up with.
Yeah, great. Yeah, so just for anybody who might not be familiar with the GA handball court, it's like a squash court with glass on all sides, right? And the ball is played up against one side, and there's obviously doors and there's connections between the glass panels. It's not just one uniform panel; it's a collection of panels, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you're working for Letterkenny Glass Company as a mechanical engineer. You're in the design department, looking at their typical products like your glass balconies, your staircases.
Mhm.
So when you got some information on the program, what attracted you to it?
Well, I always have a big thing for new product development and new innovation. So the second I heard I was getting involved with the project that you get stuck into, I more or less jumped at it. I also really fancy getting exposure to other areas of the business, sort of like Alan said before, getting involved in the marketing and the sales and the accounts, getting involved in ordering processes. Um, I also really fancied the 18-month structured plan. You're working to a set deadline and you've clear expectations set out from the beginning. And then, like Alan said previously as well, having the academic support partner there, somebody to bounce your ideas off and keep you on the right track. I thought it would be invaluable, and it has been. We've gone and seen a few things, and just having his insight and his experience there it's been invaluable.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's great to hear. And how has say so you could see the differences, I suppose. You knew what your day-to-day work looked like because you worked for a couple of months within the company. How has it changed your day-to-day work? How has it changed your job role, or has it changed your job role?
Yeah, it has. So before I would have been working as a design engineer, and I'd mostly been focusing on architectural glass, your stair glass in your balconies and the steel fixings associated with that. I'd have been producing drawings and fitting packs. I'd be interacting with customers and getting customer approval and talking to them. And then I'd been ensuring compliance with housing regulations. Whereas now I'm designing the modular handball court system. And the reason is, or the reason for developing this product is so we don't have to import it from the States. We can manufacture it in the house. Right now I'm at the stage of prototyping, so I'm getting to bring the new technology I learned in college, such as 3D modeling instead of just 2D modeling, 3D printing. We're looking into 3D scanners and stuff like that. But I'd say the way you could sum it up is that I've gone from customer-led design to fundamental design or ground-up design, starting from scratch and taking it from there.
That's very interesting, because I suppose a typical experience for a graduate in a design role would be doing that very much. The specification is already set. You're working to kind of set parameters. You're developing 2D drawings and things like that for a very kind of set list of products or services. And whereas now it sounds like you're really getting into like the bottom up design of a new product, and it's almost boundless, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's, instead of just being like one little cog in the machine, you're sort of building the machine that goes along with it. Instead of just, the drawings come in, you produce the drawings and send them on. Now you're involved in the whole process from the get-go.
Yeah. And what if there are any specific differences, would you say, like, I know we had a chat previously about the project, how it was going, and you mentioned to me that it's not you can't take an absolutely theoretical approach to the design. There are lots of considerations that maybe you wouldn't ordinarily have been exposed to, such as the cost of materials or supply chain that the company has.
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of the sort of the feasibility and the viability of it, you're sort of really thrown into the deep end there. You're coming out of college, you've little to no experience with material costs or constraints, or even your capability constraints of what you can actually make. Like why can't we just make everything out of gold? Or, like you have this new machining process that you come up with, but the machine's 600K and you're only turning over a certain amount, you can't justify it. So there's been a pretty steep curve in learning there.
Oh, fantastic. So again, like it was interesting that you mentioned that this is an import substitution product. This is something that all the components were sourced outside of Ireland. Now Letterkenny Glass Company wants to start manufacturing themselves and remove that link in their supply chain. So it's really business critical. So it kind of, if this program or project was to fail for the company, would severely impact their future projections for their revenue and the sustainability of the business. Now, how has that led to any, I suppose it sounds like it'd be high pressure, but how have you coped with that? Or has there been a lot of pressure, or do you consider that reasonable pressure, or how has your experience been?
Yeah, so there's certainly like a lot of responsibility, but at the same time, that was expected. You know what you're getting into, and with that, dealing with high pressure environments really just increases your confidence overall in the long term. There's no point in taking things too handy. You're better getting stuck in, especially this early in my career. Getting an opportunity like this so early is, it's brilliant. Whereas before, I would have been just when I was focusing on customer-led design, I would have been doing that for 2 or 3 years before I got the chance to take on something like this, but building up my confidence there. But I've really just fast tracked that process thanks to this project.
Brilliant. Yeah. So kind of similarly to Alan, that I asked Alan, how before the program and now that you're in the program and the way you see your career going, how has your career trajectory changed as a result of the program?
So probably short term, like it says, short term, I've really fast tracked through my my progression. I'd have been looking at 2 to 3 years building experience and becoming competent. Whereas now I've just gone and fast tracked that straight through to fundamental design. And then my long-term career path, what went from sort of like an aspirational entrepreneurship plan, you can really start to see the stepping stones towards actually building something, getting involved in all the different areas of the business instead of just focusing on one topic, which for me was design.
So just a little bit on that then, that's interesting. So your entrepreneurship, you mentioned entrepreneurship, do you have ideas that you might set up your own business in the future? Or?
Yeah, definitely. It's always something I wanted to do, and it was just, like I say, it was just purely aspirational. But the ideas are there, and I'd love to get involved with sort of startups, or even just with an SME like I'm doing now. Take that to the next step. Take on another few of these projects would be absolutely brilliant.
Brilliant. And what specifically has kind of, I suppose, what specifically has given you a little bit more confidence in that? You mentioned that you can kind of see the stepping stones now. What is it about this program that has enlightened you or increased your knowledge to make you a little bit more confident about that career path?
Well, I suppose having you could come up with an idea for 100 things, but you wouldn't have your set work plan that you have in this to bring it out. So you really see the value in having a structured plan in place, and trying to keep that as best you can, as well as like going through my material, my capability constraints, just gaining experience and what can be done and what it can be done from.
And what about the business aspects? You mentioned that you're getting knowledge and experience of building your competence in all the other bounding conditions for design, such as cost and supply chain. Is it really kind of the business side of things that is giving you that little bit of confidence to say, well, I have an idea of how businesses work, a lot more to learn, but I have an idea of how businesses work and make money, the viability side of it?
Absolutely. Just on the business side of it, I'd say, like Alan, marketing was probably the biggest one. How to market things, getting involved in the digital media, seeing your post reach and your SEO. I've got involved with the website building and just seeing the back end of things, managing the social medias, and there's you just to get totally involved in every aspect of it.
Yeah, no, that's great. I suppose finally, would you have any? What advice could you give any advice to people who are in your situation? So, we're an existing employee, perhaps getting a little bit bogged down in routine, routine tasks, because understandably, you know, a graduate is low on experience, high on knowledge, and they're waiting to balance them before they can kick on to the next level of responsibility. But do you have any advice for people who might have been in the same situation as you, or could be in the same situation as you?
Yeah, so I was in the same, that exact same boat, like you say. I was getting bogged down. I was expecting to be coming out of college this like superstar engineer, you know, and having the coolest jobs and projects. And then you finish college and you're like, you know, what did I really do for those 4 years? And then something like this comes along and you just literally just jump at it, because it just sets out a brilliant plan. It really helps you in your career, in my opinion.
Oh, fantastic, yeah. And Alan, same question to you. Would you have any advice for graduates on the job hunt at the moment?
Yeah, I suppose just the same as myself, as I was told, keep your ear to the ground, and keep your ear out for opportunities. And I would definitely be keeping an eye on the Career Boost program. I could not recommend it more. Exactly as Ulick said, I suppose it brings you on much further than you would have thought is possible, I suppose, depending on where you go. And I definitely keep an eye on the page.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, and as Joanne said, you'll see it in the slides and the recording after. Anyway, to register on the portal if you have any interest in working for an SME. And I think as Ulick and Alan can attest, you know, working for an SME really is at the sharp end. You'll get a lot of experience. It'll be higher pressure, but the rewards are clear. You know, it really does accelerate your development as an engineer, as a professional. And with one eye on chartership, there's no better program really out there on the island of Ireland that will help you support this, your development or your demonstration of your competences towards chartership. So absolutely, keep an eye, guys, on the Career Boost portal, and it won't steer you wrong. I'm sure you'll find something. So I suppose, Pierre, Joanne, that's it from me. That's all the questions I had for the guys, and I hope it's been useful for everybody. So back to you, Pierre.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, thank you so much, Robbie. So yeah, just before I turn off the recording and obviously pass it over to the audience to ask me questions, I just want to thank you all for a fantastic webinar. So thanks, Joanne, for introducing us to the Career Boost program, and Robbie for sharing the discussion with yourselves, Alan and Ulick. Fantastic to hear your experience, and I know you're going to greater and bigger things. So obviously we wish you all the very best of luck with that. But on behalf of Engineers Ireland, thank you very much. And obviously I look forward to any more questions that you have. So.